morning. Hi, and welcome to this year's conference. I'm very honored and privileged to be a part of it. I would like to say a very big thank you to the convener and to the administrators for setting up a very viable conference that is very needed in this year's economy and situation. So thank you once again. I hope everyone is having a great time. I hope you've settled in. I hope the previous sessions have been very, very impactful. I will be discussing with you on how to build the career of your dreams. I feel very excited to share on this topic because of the years of experience that I have had working with hiring managers and also working with candidates who are trying to build successful careers. I find that building a successful career requires a lot of intentional work. It requires a lot of deliberate action as well. And it's not something that you just leave to chance. It's something that you have to do intentionally and deliberately. And you will always have to take these steps along your career. So this is not one of those sessions where I tell you this is the ABC you need to do at this level only. As you progress in your career, you will have to take new steps. You have to make fresher decisions. You have to do newer things than you've done before because you want to have a thriving and successful career. Now, for me, I always start by saying that for you to have a successful career, you need to be very clear on what it is that you want. So number one is gain clarity. Now, what do I mean by gain clarity? It means that if you want to build a career, you need to know what you're building the career in. Am I building a career in HR? Am I building a career in law? Am I building a career in accounting? And even when you know what that career is, you need to also know the specifics in that area. So are you building a career in law? If yes, what aspect of law do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on company secretarial? Do you want to focus on property law? Do you want to focus on banking and finance law? Or if you're building a career as an accountant, do you want to stay in accounting? Or do you want to diversify in finance and risk investments and audit? You need to get clear on what it is that you want. And the reason is simple. If you're not clear on what you want to do, it is hard for you to be able to even decipher the steps that you need to take to be able to build that kind of career. Whatever career you're building would require different steps along the way. So even if you say, I want to build a career in HR, for instance, if you're not clear on the fact that it is HR and you're still dilly-dallying, it means that you would never be able to set realistic goals that will help you to achieve that career success. So get clear on what it is that you want to do. Apart from even understanding what it is that you want to do as per the job function, you also need to ask yourself, what industries do I want to play in, or what industries do I not want to play in? So for example, some people will say to me, I want to build a career in law, but in the banking industry or in the finance industry or in the construction industry or in the hospitality industry. You need to be very clear because different industries call for different qualifications and different work schedules or different things that you need to do to be able to thrive in their industry. So please get clear on what it is that you want. Now, if you are not even clear on what you want to do, at least be clear that you are not clear. Because for people who are not clear, your path may entail you doing a couple of odd jobs. It may entail you doing a lot of volunteering experience, doing internships in different fields so that you can finally arrive at the exact career path that you want to do. I find that, like for me, it wasn't very easy for me at the get-go to know what I wanted to do because I studied law and the only company that would take me in as a youth corper was a marketing agency. So they were very diverse. But I was clear that I wasn't sure if I wanted to build a career in law. So I was very open to taking up opportunities in different fields. So I worked as a PA, I worked in an NGO before I finally carved my way and found my path in human resources management. So please ensure that you gain clarity and you set your mind on what it is that you want to do. Now, when you have gained clarity, the next thing you need to ask yourself is, where am I at the moment based on this career path that I want to build? So if you say, I want to build a career in accounting or in finance, but at the moment I'm a customer service representative or I'm just a junior accounting clerk, you need to know where you are, because if you're not clear on where you are, it is hard for you to be able to decipher what you need to do to get to the next level. So, for example, someone says to you that I want to travel to Ibadan, and you ask the person, where are you now? Because it's only when I know where you are now that I will be able to tell you where you need to pass or the route you need to take or how many minutes it's going to take you to get to Ibadan. So you need to be very clear on where you're going and where you are at the moment. Where you are can be, oh, I'm just starting out my career. Where you are can be, I've been in this industry for 15 years, so I want to do a career transition. Know where you are vis-a-vis where you would like to be in the nearest future. Now, when you have done this, it is easy for you to then do step three, which is to identify the competencies you require to build that career. So when someone says, I want to build a career in corporate communications, and the person says, I want to be able to do digital marketing, media relations, public relations, you then have to say, okay, based on where I am at the moment, I only do social media marketing. What are then the competencies that I require to be able to build a career in corporate communication? So the moment you are able to begin to decipher the gaps, it is easy for you to identify what you then need to do to fill those gaps. So the gaps I'm referring to here are your competency gaps, your educational gaps. Are there certifications that guide and run your particular chosen career field? Or do you need to do more courses? Or is this a field that people really focus more on experience than on education? What are the competencies that are required? What are the skills that I need to have to be able to perform optimally in the chosen career field that I have taken? So you can do this by spending a lot of time researching people who have built careers in that field before. You can spend a lot of time researching the top skills and competencies required for people in that field, and then analyze your current situation. So if there are 10 skills, you look at it and say, okay, out of these 10 skills, I'm currently doing very well on three. I'm performing on average for about two, but I'm below average on the others, or I don't even have any experience or any skill set in this regard. When you now identify these things, you then have to ask yourself, how do I close the gap? And how long is it going to take me to close the gap? So remember when I gave the scenario earlier of someone who is heading to Ibadan, and the person says to you that currently I'm at Ekpe. The question you ask yourself is, okay, if the person is at Ekpe and the person is heading to Ibadan, it's going to approximately take the person about 4 to 5 hours to get to Ibadan based on where the person is. So that's the same way for you. You need to say to yourself, where is my career destination? So I want to become the head of HR of a global company in another 7 years. Based on where I am right now, will 7 years be a realistic time? Or can I even get there faster? Or will it take me a longer step? What are the competencies I need to start building now? What are the short-term competencies, the mid-term, and the long-term competencies to prepare me for that future job or career that I'm going for? Now, when you've done this, the next step you need to do is to set goals. You need to say to yourself, I want to set realistic goals. So for now, in the short term, I want to write this course, or I want to focus on where I'm working and develop my competencies in this area. But in the next midterm, I want to then do ABC. And then long term, I want to make sure that I achieve these things. I find that my candidates who end up achieving career success are those who actually set goals that they were able to work with. If all you have is a thought and an idea in your head, you most likely will not achieve much. But if you're able to deliberately say to yourself, I want to set these goals, achieve these goals by this timeline, it is easy for you to be able to run a successful career. Now, one of the things I always tell candidates who are looking to build successful careers as well is that you have to be tenacious. You cannot afford to see this as one of those stressful situations or one of those things that you do just because. No, you have to be very intentional about being tenacious and not giving up, because sometimes life will happen that will delay your process, that will delay your growth, that will just like hit you halfway that you don't even know what to do. You must be tenacious and refuse to give up regardless of the circumstances. I find people who say to me, oh, I've been wanting to career transition, but nobody is giving me a job. Then you need to re-strategize rather than give up. Why are they still not giving me a chance? I know that my CV may not show that I have this much experience, but I've done this little. What else can I do to sell myself to my prospective employer? So being tenacious is a character trait that I recommend for anyone who wants to build a successful career and have a thriving career as well. Now, it's not enough for you to say, oh, I want to just build a career. You also have to be very intentional about visibility, because visibility and ability work together to help you to build a successful career. What do I mean? It is possible for one person to be able to do a lot of things, but if you're not visible in the workplace, in your industry, in your field, there's so much success that you can actually get. I know a lot of people always interpret or misunderstand visibility as eye service, but that's not the case. A lot of people give opportunities to people they know, people they've heard about, people they've worked with, people they've seen their work, rather than give it to somebody that they've never really worked with or nobody recommended. So you cannot afford to say, oh, so long as I'm good at my job, everybody else will fall in line. No, you have to be intentional about visibility in the workplace. Now, there are three things I recommend, and I call them the PI model. The first is the letter P, performance. You need to ensure that in whatever role you are currently on, you are performing optimally. I know that there's no perfect candidate. So I'm not asking you to be perfect in your organization. I'm not saying, oh, you have to literally not make any mistakes at all. That is not possible in a career. But you have to ensure that you're doing everything that is required for you to perform at the best possible level that you can. Because when you're performing optimally, the people that you're working with will be able to respect you for your work. They will be able to say when it comes to performance, delivering, deadlines, timelines, quality of work, job knowledge, we can give it to this person that this person is performing optimally. That is how you begin to work towards building a career of your dreams. Now, for the I in the PI model is the letter I, image. Image simply means who are you perceived to be in the workplace or in your industry or in your sphere. A lot of people simply think that so long as I'm performing great, then my image doesn't matter, but it does matter, because you can have a positive image or a negative image in the workplace. So you have to be very intentional about the image that you are building in the workplace. So what will your colleagues say about you? Are you a team player? Do you collaborate? Are you easy to work with? Are you an introvert? Do you um, project yourself as someone who is willing to help others? Who do people say that you are? The reason why image is important is because so many times when decisions are made, a lot of times people do not only focus on your work abilities, but they focus on the impression and perception that they have about you. And this leads me to the E, exposure. You cannot afford to be building a career and not be intentional about being exposed. Now, whether you are currently looking for a job or you're in a job already, exposure is key. So if you're looking for a job, the question is how many people in your network know that you're looking for a job? How many people in your network know about you enough to recommend you to someone? And if you're currently on a job, how exposed are you in the organization? Are you the kind of person who simply does what they want to do in a corner, but nobody knows anything about you? Nobody has gotten the opportunity to see your work, to test your work, to feel your work performance, to be able to recommend you for career opportunities. Because at the end of the day, building a career of your dreams requires people. I always say that the way they say it takes a village to raise a child is the same way it takes a village to build a career. So if all you're doing is focusing on your performance, focusing on having a great image, but you're not intentional about exposing yourself, then you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, because nobody would even know about you enough to give you opportunities for career success. So these are my recommendations for building a successful career. Remember that it starts with knowing what it is that you want, ascertaining where you are, identifying the competencies and skills and educational background that are required for where you want to be, setting realistic goals, short-term, mid-term, long-term, having a tenacious attitude towards your goal, and lastly, ensure that you stick to the PI model. I hope that these tips will help you in building the career of your dreams. Have a very good day.